This is Chuck Cameron with OCTV. The program is My Life. Today I'm sitting with Tim Ricketts. He's a local boy, he's an author, published author, and he's got some stories about life, and we wanted to bring those to you. So Tim, first of all, thank you for sitting with me and talking about your life today.
Oh, no problem. Glad to be here.
Okay. We start with the end in mind. What are you up to today? And tell us a little bit about, maybe a tiny bit about the fact that you're an author. So what are you up to today, and the fact that you do some writing, and then we'll go back and drag up the past.
Well, basically I'm retired about 4 weeks now.
Okay.
Trying to get used to not having to get up and go to work.
Yep, tick, 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 tick.
Yeah, exactly. Working on several projects right now. Stuff that I've started and never finished, and trying to get that material together to where I can actually publish that.
Excellent. So you've written some short stories and a book. How did you pick topics? And we'll talk a little bit more in detail, but how'd you do this writing thing? What's up?
Talking to various people, an idea kind of sparked in the back of my head. I've always played with short stories and writing for as long as I can remember, just never really showed it to anybody or let anybody see it or know about it.
Got it.
And an idea got kind of sparked in the back of my head, and a young lady asked me if I wanted to submit a story to an anthology she was putting together for a veteran shelter in Houston. Mm-hmm. They got wiped out by a hurricane. The cabins they had there for the families of the vets being treated got wiped out. So a chance to do something like that and give back to the community, it's huge. So I started at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I fired off a rough draft at 3 a.m. And at 9 a.m. my phone was binging saying, I want it, I love it, I'm editing it.
Outstanding. And
boom, I became a published author.
Well, that is a great start. Unexpected, I would imagine.
It shocked me. I really thought that it would be a case of, gee, thanks, that's nice, but we've got others. You never know.
We never know. We really never know. Mm-mm. Let's take a step or two backward. I hear tell you're a local boy. Tell us a little bit about growing up. What was it like in your home? What was it like in your family? And a little bit about that, please.
Well, I grew up out on Sherwood Road, maybe a quarter mile from here. Yep. I'd say a mile. About a half mile down a dirt road where in the winter, if the heavy snows came, you had to walk a half mile to the paved roads to get picked up by a school bus, or in the spring when the mud hit and it was knee deep down the road, you had to maneuver your way down to the pavement. Whenever you couldn't convince Ma that you really couldn't do it.
Really, kid?
No, that's just too far. I'm just, that never worked.
Nope.
But we had 50 acres and a farmhouse that my grandfather built.
Nice.
Dog kennels. I grew up thinking a golden retriever was my brother.
Ah, yes.
They got him when I was about 3 years old, and he lived until I was 18.
You could have worse brothers. Golden retrievers are wonderful dogs.
You got that right. We always had beagles and bird dogs, and the 50 acres we could hunt, and lakes around, creeks to play in. We used to run around the woods a lot.
Well, there's a lot of woods out here, maybe less now that are undeveloped, but it's a wonderful place I can imagine for a kid growing up. This would be a great place to grow up.
Oh, it was fantastic. I mean, as I got older and old enough to hunt, I knew all the neighbors and knew everybody in the area. So, you never an issue where you hunted.
Yep.
In fact, come to think of it, I think I shot a pheasant right over there.
It's possible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, back by the ball fields.
There you go. So, brothers, sisters, anything?
2 brothers. My brother Jim's 10 years older than me. Yeah. My brother Bob was 8 years older than me. He's passed away.
Okay.
They all grew up here in Oxford, played ball. for the high school team, and they played Little League and all their friends in the area. Bob did 23 years in the Navy. Jim did 2 years in the Army. He was stationed in Korea. Bob was involved in every conflict from Vietnam on.
Yeah. So if you got brothers that are that much older, were you guys close? Were you distant from your older brothers? How'd that work out?
We weren't really that close. I mean, there was such a big age difference, you know. I mean, you know, at 7 years old, Jim's 17. He's getting a car, getting a job, getting out of college, you know, trying to go on his own.
Sure.
So, you know, that they weren't around a lot.
I understand.
They weren't around.
Who would you say were influences in your life when you were young back then? Who were big influences for you?
Without a doubt, my dad.
Yeah?
I mean, there's no doubt about it. He set the example for what it is to work hard.
Got it.
You know, he went to GMI, basically came out as an engineer.
Yep.
Ended up working for GM as a drafting room supervisor for 30 years. Drafting room designer, detailer. He worked as an engineer on various projects that they had going. He got to hang out with some of the big names in the business.
I'll bet.
At the time. You know, he served the end of World War II in the Navy. He was stationed down in Pensacola.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of funny. He had to have a certain amount of flight time in order to get his flight pay.
Okay.
Buddy of his said, "Come on, we're going on a little search mission. Hop on." So they got into these PBY, flying boats, and went out looking for these planes that were missing. That was a flight of PBYs that disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh,
so
the
he was
face.
flying through the Bermuda Triangle searching for these planes.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of a neat story.
It would be that. In what way was he an example for you?
Well, getting a good education.
Yeah.
You know, he was very big on that, very big on the math and sciences. I had no options as far as skipping any math or science. I had to take them.
Yep.
And just from his patience working with the dogs, he used to come home and he would train bird dogs. The retriever, he trained our retriever, you know, and he always had something he was going on, doing various things.
Okay, got it. So he's a big influence in your life.
Oh, very big.
Excellent. All right. So you've got brothers, you've got a dad. Was your mom a homemaker, a mom?
For quite a few years, up until probably 7, 8.
Okay.
And then she actually worked in the cafeteria in one of the schools.
Got it.
And then worked in the cafeteria at the junior high about the time I hit there.
Got it.
And at one point in time, she was a licensed cosmetologist.
Well, I remember you telling me earlier that you're still pretty involved with your mom now. So when we get back, we'll take a look at your young adult life, how you got to be a real-life grown-up, and then we'll go from there, all right?
All right.
All right, well, thanks for the time. This is enjoyable.
Yes.
We'll see you soon. Okay, so you had a great childhood, had a lot of fun outside. Get yourself into high school. Where'd you go to high school?
Here in Oxford.
Outstanding.
Actually, what is now Oxford Elementary
Yep.
on Pontiac Street.
Got it?
Actually, that's the same school my brothers graduated from.
There you go.
So,
In those years, were there people, teachers or others that you consider influential in your life?
junior high, Lou Wilson
Okay.
was one. A gentleman by the name of Dan Billman, who basically was biology teacher. Nice guy, great guy, absolutely wonderful. Other than that, not really. I was just passing through. I wasn't necessarily the best student. I wasn't the worst, but
You made it through.
yeah,
That's what counts.
yeah, I wasn't 4.0, that's for sure.
After high school, what did you do?
Oh, let me see. Spent a year at Western Michigan University, and then I jumped over to OCC. I was living in an apartment just down the road here,
Okay.
and going to school at OCC, working in a shop during the day.
Yep. Yep.
Started playing softball. It's when the softball fields were over here on Coates and Seymour Lake Road,
Okay.
before Parks and Rec took it over and built these fields out here. But playing softball, working in the shops, going to school, I ended up getting 2 associates from OCC.
What did you study at that time?
Basically business. From there, I went on to get my bachelor's from Northwood.
Good school.
Oh, yeah. I was able to attend University College, I believe they call it, basically extension in Flint. So I did an accelerated program where you're cycling 3 different classes every month or 2 months. It was brutal. I was working from about 3 p.m. to midnight or 3 a.m. sometimes when we were doing 12. At one stretch, I went from Easter to Thanksgiving without a day off, in addition to doing the school.
In addition to school.
It was rough.
That could wear you down a bit.
Yeah, that it did. But it paid off. You get that bachelor's degree, you get that college, that education. It helps your money.
It does open doors, doesn't it?
Definitely.
It's not the only way to live, but it certainly opens doors that otherwise wouldn't open for us.
Exactly. At the time, the job I was working, I was contract.
Yep.
And in order to get hired in full time, you had to have a bachelor's, minimum.
What was your degree in?
Business, associates in business administration and management.
A solid educational foundation.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, the instructors up there were absolutely outstanding.
Good.
As the one instructor put it, you know, Michigan's here, Michigan State's here, Harvard's here, you should strive to be up here, and he graded accordingly.
Ooh, that would get your attention.
Oh, he was rough.
Oof. Okay.
He was rough.
All right. So you got out of school. What did you do then?
Working for General Motors, I was playing a lot of softball. At the time, I had 2 kids, a house payment, 2 car payments, the normal things in life that happen to you.
And you kind of got to find a way to make those bills go away.
Exactly, exactly. Now, I continued to work and started taking a few classes towards a master's, which I never did finish.
Oh, you started.
But I had moved to Lapeer, got a great deal on a house up there, and the taxes were half of what they were in Oakland County at the time. They're probably equal now, I don't know. But it was a lot of fun.
So you had a couple of kids along the way. Tell us about the kids.
I have 2 wonderful daughters.
Yeah.
Both of them had excellent jobs and decided that they were going to quit and become full-time moms. So I now have 4 grandchildren.
You're a wealthy man. Are they local?
One's in Madison Heights, the other's in Warren.
It's pretty local.
The gal in Warren's looking to move out this way.
Got it.
It's
What are their names?
a lot of fun. Andrea and Sarah,
Andrea and Sarah.
both beautiful young ladies. Andrea was involved in commercial insurance,
Okay.
where she was an executive account manager for a firm.
Okay.
Sarah, for a lot of years, was a manager for a retail firm. Don't know if I can mention any names. I'm not gonna.
We don't need to. But as long as you've got good kids, That's what counts.
Yeah, they both turned out very good.
And 4 grandchildren, that's a good thing for you.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And they're both very much still involved in sports. They were both varsity soccer. Sarah 4 years, and I think Andrea did 3 years as varsity and 1 year on JV.
So they're pretty good runners.
Oh, yeah. They were.
In your college years or as you're becoming a young adult, were there folks that had an influence on your life? You said your dad was a major one. Anybody else comes along?
I worked with a lot of great people at a lot of small companies prior to hiring into GM. And, you know, when I finished up my degree, I hired into GM. But prior to that, I worked a lot of small shops.
Yep.
You know, I had a gentleman by the name of Chuck Johnson that I worked with for a lot of years. We worked together at a place that was Gates Rubber Company, SA Industries, Gates Rubber Company. And it basically closed up. And about 3-4 years after that, Chuck called me and says, "Hey, I'm up here at a company called Mantex. I need some help."
Give you a call. You must have made a very good impression.
He gave me a call. We were good friends. We were good friends. He was a good boss. He was great to work with.
Excellent.
You know, he set a good example.
Good. Okay. So you're out of school. You're working. You've got a couple of kids. We're going to take a look next at, you know, what happened between that time and maybe the last, say, 20 years. What were you up to in your adult life? Did you have any hobbies or habits or travel or anything that you found interesting? And then, of course, the last segment, we're going to talk about your writing.
My wife and I, you mentioned travel. The wife and I have, you know, been to Florida multiple times.
Okay.
We decided one year, okay, where haven't we been in Florida? And we realized we had not been on the East Coast. So we picked a spot, booked a flight, rented a hotel room, and boom, gone. So we spent a week wandering around Lauderdale by the sea.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice place.
Fort Lauderdale. And of course, it just so happened that the Red Wings were playing the Florida Panthers.
I see.
So we kind of snuck over there for a hockey game.
It's probably an easier way to see the Red Wings than it is in Detroit.
It was a lot cheaper.
Yep, sure.
The seats were 4 rows back, and I think I paid $50 a piece.
Yes.
Good luck getting that here.
Doesn't sound like any of our local arenas.
No. But it was a nice arena. We were walking the beach, ran into a couple from Pittsburgh. My wife and her whole family are originally from Pittsburgh.
Really?
Yes. And we got to talking with them, and they gave us the lowdown on parking the mall across the road from the arena. They've got open air cafes for dinner and such. Wonderful.
A local knowledge is a priceless thing.
That it is.
Excellent. Okay, so you've got, you're working, you've got a family. Did you have any inkling about writing at the time, or did that come along later on?
That pretty much came around a little later on.
Right.
A lot of stuff happened very quickly because after the initial story, the initial submission, I had other people that I'd been talking to and such, and I started seeing open calls for submission all over the place, it seemed like. So I jumped on it, and there were, you know, various groups through either Facebook or different web pages and such. So, boom, you know, 30 short stories in a 2-year stretch.
Outstanding. When we get back, we'll take a look at what you wrote about, why, a bit about your book, and then kind of look at maybe wind it up with some advice you might give to young people who might think about writing, and maybe some not so young of us too. But for now, thanks for that segment. We'll be back in just a minute. So you've traveled a bit. Rumor has it you've been across the pond.
Yes, I have.
Tell me about that.
Two incidents. I was 17 and went to England, Wales, Scotland, did the UK for 6 weeks.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. I was traveling with a choral group and an orchestra. Absolutely fantastic experience. And then probably 5 years ago, I think it was, my wife and I did a 10-day bus tour of Ireland.
Did you? Now, are you Irish?
She is.
Okay, that's a good reason to go, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, she is. Me, I'm a mud. I don't know where I would go.
We call us soup people.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of different flavors.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it was absolutely beautiful. We, Cliffs of Moher, Giant Stepping Stone, all over, from Dublin to Belfast.
Good stuff, huh?
Well, being able to see the history, when you consider the conflict in Northern Ireland, everything that happened there, was amazing. Stuff I'd read about and was on the news when I was growing up.
Yep.
And being able to see where it actually happened. I mean, they've still got sniper nests on top of buildings in Ireland.
Yep.
Oh, unreal.
Tough times. Well, I noticed here in front of me, you put a couple of books during the break time. I'm going to sneak you toward your writing career. You were working with GM. You're doing a lot of work, but in the process, something tickled you toward writing. Tell us about that, and then tell us about your books.
Well, I've always, been a storyteller, if you will, and writing them down, next logical step, and being able to do that. I ran into some people online and ended up doing some beta reading for various authors.
What does that mean?
That's you get a copy either before it's edited, the story is edited, or right after it's edited, and you go through and you make your comments on it. Okay. If you pick up something that needs, a lot of the authors would send you a docx or a document format to where you can track changes on it and make your comments off to the side using your computer, and you go through and you read it, and you can make comments as you're going. Do you like this? Does this make sense? Is it, a captivating story? Does it catch your attention? Does it hold your attention?
So they're getting a perspective from someone who doesn't have a vested interest.
Correct. And, an author will send out 10, 20 copies to various people and compile all the comments and make changes accordingly, have it edited again before even hitting the publish button.
Good. Okay. So you got some chances to do that. So what happened next?
I had been doing that, and a young lady, I had posted a video from a popular band that had some links to some veterans, different resources for veterans.
Okay.
And she was putting together an anthology to benefit a veteran shelter in Houston.
What's the story there?
They had been hit by the hurricane. They had cabins there so the families could stay while the veterans were being treated. And they were wiped out. So this anthology, the gal was putting together the anthology and said, hey, you want to submit a story? And it had kind of sparked an idea in the back of my head. And like I say, I started at 8 a.m. and 3 a.m. I sent it to her. So that was actually the first story that I'd ever completed that had been accepted for publishing.
That must have felt pretty good.
Yeah, it was amazing. I was totally shocked. I laid it on my wife, and she's like, you did what?
Very cool.
Because I didn't tell anybody that I had written something like that or that I'd even submitted anything.
So then what happened next?
Somebody read that story and said, hey, I'm putting together an anthology over here on this. Would you like to submit? It's a paid anthology. and I think I made $20 off that one.
That much?
Yeah, yeah. I still get about 20, 30 bucks a month from residuals on some of them.
Very good.
You know, even though they're 4 years old, people still pick them up and they read them. You know,
Yeah.
so it's a wonderful thing. I get a little pocket money.
Sure. So how many short stories have you written?
Oh, I've had over 30 short stories published in
Really?
a 2-year stretch.
That must feel really good.
It does. It does. It makes me think that I can actually do it.
Well, you have evidence that you can actually do it.
That's what they say.
Success is proven.
Yes.
So I'm noticing a different book here. Talk to me about this one.
Oh, the motorcycle book.
Okay.
My friend Via Lewis did this, the graphic artwork and everything on it.
Okay.
And it talks about all different kind of motorcycles. It's a great way to educate your kids and your family or whoever on some of the different motorcycles.
Excellent. Motorcycles that go vroom vroom, which is a great title. I mean, you need to have a good title for a motorcycle book.
Yeah, I bounced that idea off Via Lewis, and I laid out the format and sent her all the information, and she proceeded to go through, and
You made it happen? Excellent.
she did that one
Excellent.
in a couple weeks.
Oh, what a good, with the bike.
Yeah,
Your bike.
my bike.
What do you drive?
Kawasaki Vaquero,
Yep.
1700 V twin.
Phew, zoom, zoom.
It goes zoom.
Yes, it would.
You have to watch it.
All right. Well, I promise to watch it. Are you any more books coming out of you?
I'm working on 3 projects currently.
Okay.
One will be the stories from various shops
Good.
that I've worked in.
Good. There's always stories in work, isn't there?
Oh, there's a million of them. There is a million. of them.
And some of them you can actually tell.
Yes. Some of it will be edited with names changed.
To protect the guilty.
Exactly. Exactly.
Excellent.
I'm going to have to use that one.
It's yours.
Yeah.
It's yours. Well, so you're going to continue to write. That's wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, I have the time now. And as one author put it to me, you do 5,000 words a day, 5 days a week. Take your weekends off, rest, recuperate, whatever. And in a couple months, you'll have enough for a book.
Good counsel.
Yes. Yes. This is from a young lady who has probably 40 books out there, and she's pulling in thousands of dollars.
She would know. So you'll be writing. So where could somebody locally get your books?
Amazon.
Amazon.
Just
famous
search
Amazon.
TD Ricketts. I'm on Amazon. I have an author's page there. The links for each book are there.
Excellent.
You can jump on them all.
So I'd say this to those wonderful folks watching. This is a local boy. He made good. He's a published author. And it would be great to be able to support people who are local and who are writing. Just maybe you get something really good to work to read and enjoy. So I thank you. It sounds like you've got quite a life.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It sounds like you've got a lot of fun coming.
Oh, yes. In fact, I've got a hockey game in about 4 hours.
All right. Well,
Get to go watch my grandson play.
Always the best. Well, thank you, Tim. Thank you for your time. We appreciate it. It's a good story.
Thank you.
Good story. And this is Chuck Cameron for another issue of My Life. I got a chance to talk to Tim, learn about a local guy who's an author. You never know who's living in our town. Enjoy yourself. Have a good day.